Hey everybody, welcome back to CAF's Heroes of Sport. My name is Bob Babbitt, and every week we meet some of the most amazing challenge athletes on the planet. And when you talk about amazing challenge athletes, there are two that are way up at the top of the list. Rudy Garcia Tolson, Roderick Sewell, both of them together training in Colorado Springs. How you guys doing?
Doing well. How are you, Babbitt?
I am awesome. You guys are the twins. It's always great to talk to the twins. It's like, so before we get into training, talk a little bit about just the fact that when you guys met and Rudy was 11 or 12 and Roderick was, I don't know, 7 or 8, the fact that neither of you had ever met another double above knee amputee, and that bond started early, right?
Exactly. I think that's what embodies CAF. If it wasn't for CAF, I don't think I would have met Roderick until much later in my life. But, growing up in Southern California, I never met another double amputee who was like me. It was always a single leg or a double below the knee. For the first time hearing, I think through Tabby King, that there was another double above the knee amputee living in San Diego, and that she was going to arrange that connection. So I think the first time we met, it was at like a water sports clinic, I believe. And that was like the first time that I ever seen somebody who was like me. So I got to see what it was like kind of looking at myself.
And for you, Roderick, at the time, you didn't swim. You were scared of showers. You were scared of anything wet. Seeing that kid who was basically you, he was another double above the amputee swimming. Did that lead you into swimming?
Seeing that representation in Rudy and having that, just knowing that that's possible. Like there's zero excuse now. You see that it's doable, you see that it's possible. And once you take that step to overcome that fear, you might surprise yourself.
So getting back in the game, what's hard is the Paralympics get postponed for another year. Rudy, you've been to 4 of them. You've got 2 golds, 2 silvers, and a bronze, and you want to go for a 5th. And if the Paralympics had not been postponed till next year, would you even be going for a 5th?
Oh, absolutely. I'd still be in probably New York City right now working, and probably regretting not making that decision to go for Tokyo.
That is cool. And for you, Roderick, this extra year, you would have been focused on swimming specifically. And now this gives you a year this year to focus on hand cycling as well.
Yeah, and I definitely needed that extra year, that extra time. So I'm grateful. Like, it's been a tough year for everybody, but I'm grateful that when it comes to my training that I've had this time to actually progress.
And talk about the training, Roderick, for you to balance that. You're in swimming. Is your best the 100 breast?
100-meter breaststroke, yes, sir.
100-meter breaststroke. So that's an event that takes you how long?
A minute and 30 seconds.
Minute 30 seconds. So then for hand cycling, what are the lengths of those events?
You have the time trial that can go from 12 to 20 miles, and that's 50 minutes possibly, and then the road race, which is about an hour and a half. So completely different racing.
So how have you been balancing that? And again, for a long time, it was hard to find a place to swim. Get out on the roads, but you really had no place to swim. How have you tried to balance all that? 2 sports, no place to swim, and try to get into not just shape, but world class, going to the Paralympic shape?
For sure. First part is diet. Thankfully, I partnered with Vega, and they've been a huge support. I got lucky in New York. I found a pool that was open to the public and free. And swimming there and maintaining some kind of lean posture, because I'm going to need that. Obviously, working on the bike, I'm getting too big, too bulky. So I've definitely been swimming more and then using that to kind of build my strength on the bike.
In terms of weight training, how do you balance that? Because like you said, you don't want your arms to be too bulky because it slows you down the pool.
And again, it's all in the diet. It's all in what I eat. And I've definitely been eating a lot more veggies. But I've kind of stayed away from meat and too much protein, because I know what happens if I'm taking too much. It's never good.
So Rude, for you to come back at this advanced age and try to make a Paralympic team, how the feeling of, because basically you were at the Olympic Training Center from the age of you went to first Paralympics when you were 16 years old, and in 2004, and we're 16 years later. How hard was it to get back into that routine of getting up, training in a pool, getting to the weight room, getting back in the pool, flexibility? How have you had to adapt?
I started my comeback when I was living in New York City, and of course, there's no facilities open out there. So I started by running. I ran from 30 minutes starting out, and then up to about an hour and a half. And I essentially ran for about a month and a half to get my cardio kind of build up. And then as soon as I got to California, I was lucky enough to get an invitation to swim at a private pool, thanks to Mr. David Duchovny, who's an awesome guy who I actually met at the Malibu Triathlon back in 1998. So it's kind of cool how full circle came around. So I was able to get in the pool while I was in California for about 3 months to training essentially by myself. And surprisingly myself, I was able to stay motivated and stay, doing 4,000 to 5,000 meters a day. And I did that. I drove from Riverside to Malibu and back every day for 3 months. So it was a lot of driving. It was a lot of just a lot to get into the pool. But I love the challenge. I love the situation that I was in, and so I was able to continue maintaining my swimming. And then back in November, I came out here to Colorado Springs to really take it to the next level. Facilities are open out here. I've been training at Lifetime Fitness. I have a great training partner, Emily Gray. She used to train and be a Paralympian for South Africa, and I have Roderick now to be pushing me in the pool. So things have been going well. As far as my age, 32 years old now. The altitude took me a little bit longer to get used to, but as far as my physical fitness and my strength and my technique and my strokes, that's all been feeling amazing. I really don't notice too much with the age. I'm still plugging away, obviously doing a lot of stretching, but I can say, Bob, we're now in January of 2021, and they're saying that the Paralympics and the Olympics are going to be happening here in a few months. But I can tell you that there's a mental challenge when it comes to opening up your phone, going on your Twitter and seeing articles from the New York Times and all these publications saying that the games might not happen now, and obviously me and Rod, we've gone through a lot. We know how to overcome, challenges, but it's weird that one little small tweet that you read, can get into your head. And when you're in the pool training or out on the road, you start to think, man, is this all for nothing? Like, am I just training and then they're going to cancel the games? So there's a little bit of like a mental challenge that we continuously have to stay on top of, because it's very easy to say, you know what, they're probably not going to happen this year, and then just kind of go easy. So I think that is the biggest challenge, is whether it's going to happen or not. Now, obviously, saving people's lives is priority number one across the world. And so at this point, I would not be surprised if they cancel it, but we're staying positive and going to do what we got to do.
What's interesting is my thought is that when we look at what events have happened, usually they're connected with dollars, right? There's a lot of dollars in basketball, football, baseball. It's like, okay, we have to do this. We have to figure out a way. I could see the Paralympics, Olympics happening without fans, but I can't imagine them walking away from all those television dollars and not having the Olympics and Paralympics for this.
Absolutely.
My gut is, in my opinion, it's 99% you guys are going to be going. So, Roderick, from your perspective, you've gone through so much. You were a kid who was homeless and ended up becoming the first person in your family to graduate from college. I think your first time you went international in 2014. I think you won a gold medal when you went. So the challenge of the different sports. Talk a little bit about where you're at now. Where do you think you're at now physically for both swimming and hand cycling?
I feel pretty strong right now, and like Rudy said, it is a challenge, because you're always wondering, is it going to happen? Like, is this worth it? Should I be even trying? And I feel like even for Rudy, I can only speak for myself. I want to be prepared if it does, and I feel like any athlete that's going to represent their country, they want to be ready when the time is called, So I'm staying to it. I got the grit. You know, I'll talk to Carlos. He's going to set up a test hopefully this week or next week for the cycling. I got Rudy here. We have Emily, so I'm not worried about swimming whatsoever. I know we have that. You know, and it's just about being prepared, and then we'll let things take their course.
So for both of you, and when we think back, Rudy, to you, Terry Martin was the guy who basically said, hey, here's this kid missing both legs. I think he can do triathlon. I think he can run. He saw something in you before you and your mom and dad saw something.
Yeah.
For you, Roderick, when Rudy introduced you to swimming and Alan Voisard realized pretty quickly this kid who was scared of the water could be a Paralympian one day. You both know what it means to have somebody believe in you before you believe in yourself. And you also know there's a lot of other kids out there, especially during COVID, who are really struggling. And I know that you guys reach out to those kids and I hear from them all the time. How hard has it been for you to see what other kids are going through? And how important is it for you to be there for them?
Absolutely. You know, this pandemic that started last year in March I think has been, as Carlos Melita said, has been especially challenging, especially hard for challenge athletes around the world. Our pride comes from putting our legs on or getting in our chair and going out and doing what we do, and for us not to be able to be part of our teams, to not be able to train with training partners and whatnot is challenging for all of us. But I think at the end of the day, we need to remember that it's not going to last. There's going to be an end to it, and when that end comes, how do you want to look back on the whole pandemic and see what you were doing and what you did? So I think there's definitely a lot of challenges when it comes to just be doing sports, when the whole world is kind of shut down and priority is saving lives. Sports sometimes doesn't necessarily take the front of the priorities, I would say. But I think that's what comes when you love what you do. And I think it's been especially hard not being able to attend the San Diego Triathlon Challenge. That event that we put on in La Jolla is the one event I look forward to every year. It's a family reunion. We come back every year. We see little kids grow up and become taller than me and Roderick and become stronger and faster. And, we just see everybody come together, and it's such a great time. And, I think that's been especially hard, especially for me, because, I love seeing everybody. I love seeing my CAF family. But, I think it's important that we use the technology that we have, the communication, the Zoom, the virtual clinics that CAF has been doing to continue keeping the athletes motivated, because it's very easy to become unmotivated in these times.
So you guys are part of a pretty small club. You are the only two double above knee amputees to finish an Ironman.
Yeah.
Right? Rudy finished Ironman Arizona back in 2009, 1606, and Roderick finished Kona 2019, 1626. Roderick, how important was it for you to finish Kona? Because it's funny, you guys could be really competitive with each other, and I'm sure you are when you are in the pool. But at the same time, Rudy was the guy who got you in the swimming. Rudy was the guy who you saw do Ironman and thought, yeah, I don't think back then you were thinking of doing Ironman, but the last couple of years, maybe. Yeah, I know, no interest. Having Rudy there for you in Kona when you completed the toughest day in sport, how special was that for you?
Just to show you the progression, I remember in 2009 when Rudy finished Arizona, and I remember waking up that morning. I was 17, still in high school, and I remember I had a pep in my step. I just walked my chest out a little bit, like, I can't believe I know this guy, for one. For two, this is amazing for everybody. This makes a statement to everyone. And then for Kona to be placed in my face and for me to take it head on and have Rudy by my side telling me we're going to get this done, I knew what this spark was going to ignite for kids around the world, anybody disabled or not, any individual that's struggling. And I feel like during this pandemic, we're all struggling in some kind of way, shape, or form. But that's the time to kind of step back and say, what am I grateful for? What am I appreciative for? Because that's going to take us the long run.
So when you come across that finish line and your mom is there, and your mom was the one who sacrificed everything to make sure you got legs, right? Moved into a homeless shelter and did everything for you. To see her and then see Rudy, it's like your life went full circle. You spent this time going around a big island, and then you come back and there's the people who were there pretty much from the beginning. That had to be a really special moment for you.
It was surreal, almost. Like, I remember seeing the finish line and thinking, is this really over? Is this really like happening right now? And I tell anybody, I like to take myself out of it. And yeah, I appreciate you being there, Earl, Sarah Hartman from IRONMAN Foundation, my mom, Rudy, being there, and having my tribe there, to support me. But it was a group effort, and this group effort, it made a statement. And it made a statement that anything is possible, and it leaves room for the impossible, and that's what I appreciate the most.
I tell people all the time that why you guys are my hero is most of us can walk outside anytime and be sort of incognito. You guys are never incognito. Anywhere you go, everybody's eyes are on you. Hey, that guy's missing his legs. You're both living at the time, in probably the most inaccessible city on the planet, New York City. Downstairs, upstairs, cold, wearing shorts. Why is that important for you guys? Because you could cover up and not show, but at the same time, it seems, Rudy and you've led the way in this. Back in the day, amputees would not show their legs. You've always felt it was important to let people know what you're dealing with. Why?
I think it's there's importance in inspiring people. I know that there are a lot of challenge athletes that will get mad when somebody will come up to them in public and say that you've inspired me, even though they're at the grocery store or doing something very simple, and they refuse to be called an inspiration because they feel like they're just living their life. And on one end they're right, but if somebody wants to be inspired by you, why take that away from them? You should let them be inspired by you, no matter how small or how insignificant it may seem to you. If you're able to have that power to inspire one person throughout the day, then why would you not want to do that? To me, there's nothing more powerful than being able to motivate and inspire somebody, because they're going to go on and either change their life in a small way or help change somebody else's life in a small way. But I think me and Roderick, we wear shorts every day, all day, because we're proud. We're proud of who we are. I'm proud that OSER has sponsored me for more than 20 years and given me these awesome computerized legs. I'm proud to be an ambassador for the Challenge Athletes Foundation. I'm proud to be an advocate for disabled people around the world, because there's still a big stigma when it comes to disabled people, especially in the United States, and they feel like we are less than, or they feel sorry for us because of our condition or whatever it may be. We want to flip that on the side and show the kids that it's cool to be different. I can be 10 foot tall if I want. I have 5 pairs of legs. There are a lot of positives when it comes to disability and especially challenge athletes, and we want to showcase that. We want to highlight that, bring it up, and let everybody embrace it.
And to add on to what Rudy's saying, I think representation is important, very, very important. If we walked around and were ashamed or hiding our disability, what does that say to the kids that are looking at us like, oh, maybe I should do the same? We're saying, no, it's okay to be disabled. It's okay to live life with a disability, and you can still live life to the fullest. But because you have a disability does not mean that you're limited or you can't do certain things. Don't let other people put limits on you. You need to adjust the world and make it more accessible, make it more fair to your disability. And I think that's the statement we're making when we walk around and we show off that, yes, we have a disability. This is how we live. What are we going to do about it?
What I love, Roderick, is you swam, you've been swimming forever. And when you got into triathlon, Ironman was your second ever triathlon. You did one 2 weeks before, you go to Ironman, and your whole world changes, right? You're on NBC, all this stuff happens. Did it surprise you, just the reach? You knew from Rudy that there was reach there. Did it surprise you, the number of people around the world who were following your journey in Kona last year?
Yeah, I was shocked at how many people said you inspired. Like Rudy said, like, to me, I'm out there racing like anybody else, but because I'm doing it in a different circumstance, people are like, you push me to do this, you push me to do that. And it might not be Ironman. It might just be something in life, whether it's school, work, anything. And I think that's what it is, to ignite that inspiration in others and see where it takes them, and then see how that growth betters their life, and that's the best we can ask for.
So Rudy, you've seen from, Athens was probably one of the weakest in terms of Paralympics and the amount of awareness, right? You've seen what happened when we went to Beijing and then London and how much bigger it got. And then it sort of went a little backwards with Rio. I don't think the crowds were as big. What do you hope comes out of Tokyo?
I think the biggest thing that as athletes that we can wish for is safety. I think safety needs to be the number one priority. The safety of people's lives is a priority, I think. So, what I'm hoping for Tokyo here in 2021, hoping for a safe games. But at this point, we're kind of just ready for whatever comes at us. But regardless if Tokyo happens or not, I'm not done. I know Paris is right around the corner in 2024. If Tokyo doesn't work out for some reason, I can't get classified. Maybe I'm not fast enough. Whatever the reason may be, nothing's gonna change. I'm still gonna continue to train. I think at this point, being 32 years old, I think a dream for me, I think possibly one of my last biggest sporting goals would be to go to 2028 to the LA Paralympic Games, and to be able to compete on home soil is every athlete's dream. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to.
For you, Roderick?
For Tokyo, it's hard to say because of the circumstances we're in. But like Rudy said, it's the safety of the athletes, it's the safety of the spectators, if allowed. And it's going to be different. It's going to be different, but we are still going to represent our country just like any other athlete would. And I think that's the beauty of the sport, is that all these athletes are still going to try their best, do their best. And like Rudy said, I'm still working on my first games. I've got an Ironman out the way and everything. I'm still working on my first. And I feel my body transitioning from speed to endurance, which is why I went from only swimming 100 breaststroke to swimming 100 breaststroke and cycling. Cycling, I could definitely see myself doing 2024 and 2028. And like Rudy said, that's 2 hours away from home. My grandma could come watch me in the Paralympics. Like, that would be amazing. And it's that drive that we still have, and I'm grateful to have teammates like Rudy and support like from you and everybody from CAF to people that are still looking at us like, we believe in you. We think you can do this.
Love it. You guys, you two, if I don't say it often enough, you are my heroes. I love what you guys do. I love what you bring to all of our CAF kids. Thank you so much for being part of the CAF family and for joining us on our CAF Heroes of Sports show. It's always an honor, guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having us, Bob.
We love you too, Babbitt. Thanks for always being there for us and believing in us. And we look forward to getting back out on the races, hopefully STTC this year. And to all the CAF community, stay connected. Stay liking each other's posts. Reach out to each other if you ever feel lonely. We're here for you. We're gonna get through this. So thank you to CAF.
Love it. Again, this is CAF's Heroes of Sport. Thank everybody for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.